Okay, we're back, and it appears that Westlaw is working now, so hopefully I can get through this. And again, I apologize for all the delays this afternoon with the lecture. So anyway, we're on Westlaw. Things that we have on our banner, we have our history. Well, this is our client number, so our client ID. If we were mid-research and we were doing something for a different client, we would change our client number here. We can change it. We can go to our history. Our history are our recent searches, recent documents we pulled up. So if we're forced to sign off because something happened, you got called away to do something else, you can go back and pull up what you've done. Now, if you access it before 2 a.m. on the same day, you are not charged for an additional search if you go to the history. Folders is a way of organizing your research. Let me try view all. No, is that going to work? So if I am doing research on evidence, as I do my research, I can save things into my don't show me this, okay? I can save something into my evidence folder and then keep track of my research. So either by topic or by client, however is the most helpful for you. Okay, favorites, notifications. Okay, so I want to go back home. I click on the name, the Westlaw Edge name. We are clicking our heels 3 times, just like Dorothy. Okay, so the first thing I want to talk about on what to do on Westlaw is pulling up a case if you have the site. Okay, so if I type in 107 SCT 1756, it's going to pull up the case there. I can pull up by, the official reporter, by a parallel site, whatever site I have. Okay, so looking through a case on Westlaw, things you might want to notice. Well, wait, before I do that. Okay, so we can pull, if we want more than one site, we can type them in separated by commas, and then we'll have a list of all the sites that we have typed in. So that's helpful if somebody says, hey, can you pull up these cases? You can just do that in one screen and pull up more. So things to notice. All right, we have our citation up here. This is our case name, our court. We have the date. We have our parallel citation. So from here, we can do all our Blue Book stuff. We have our key site flag, which we will learn more about. I don't remember if it's next week or the week after when we talk about citators. If we want to print this out, we go over here to our delivery menu. So all the way to the right to the delivery menu. Okay, from the delivery menu, we have the option to print it, to download it, to email it to someone or yourself, put it to a Dropbox or a Kindle. So let's say I wanted to download this. What do I want? Do I just want my document? Do I want my document in annotations? I can check my layout. People like the dual column format. That's how it looks like in cases. Do I want key site flags? Do I want head notes? Do I want a cover page? All of those things that you can set a preference for here. So if I click on download, it'll take a second. And then I hit download. And then when I pull it up, I think it's a PDF here. And now that's mine. I can print it. I can save it on my own hard drive or my desktop or my laptop, or I can print it out, whatever works for me. So that is, delivery. If I wanted to save it to a folder, there's a folder. Oops, there's my folder. And I could save it to one of the folders that I have already set up, or I can set up a new one. So I can go, new folder, create one, and then add that one there. If this is something I want to be alerted to, if something another case cites to it, I can create an alert. I can annotate, which means I can highlight, and I'll show you how to do that in a little bit. If I want to look through this, I can jump to a page from here if I wanted to. So this one, I'm like at 1756. If I want to go to 1759 and go there, I can just jump directly to that page. Okay, so those are my delivery options that I wanted to talk about. Okay, so then our case, we have our caption. This is what we've looked at, what it would look like in the book, and things we've kind of been working on. And I've been giving you this, to work on Blue Book. So this is just like if I looked at it in the Supreme Court Reporter. I've got my synopsis. I have my head notes. One of the things that is interesting about head notes here is that, remember when we were doing digest searching, we would have our head note, our topic, and our key number. So this one is 92K920. And if I pulled that up in the digest, I'd have a certain number of cases with that same head note number. It tells you right here how many cases cite to that head note. So I know that if I am interested in this equal protection keynote here for head note 2 key number, I have 506 cases that cite to it. So if I went to there, it would pull up all of those 506 cases, and I could further my research that way. So it's kind of like doing a digesty kind of search, but using Westlaw. Another thing to look at is page numbering here. So I'm going to get past all of these head notes, which there's a gazillion. So when you're citing to this case and you want to quote something very particular, okay, so you need to tell your reader exactly. If you're doing a direct quote to a case, you need to tell your reader on exactly what page it appears on. Well, we're on Westlaw, right? So there's no pages. So you'll see that for Lexis and Westlaw, they create what they call it star paging. So they give you a reference to what page this is on in the book. Okay, so you'll see this one, 279, 1 star, 1760, 2 stars. So that corresponds to Sierra List up here, 481 US 279. So this is on page 279 in the US Reporter, first one on the list. This is the second Reporter because there's 2 stars, 1760. So that's called star paging. So that way you can do a pinpoint citation even when you're looking at it in Westlaw. What I was just doing here, I was highlighting. You can highlight your case and then save it to a folder with the highlights. Or if you want to copy this little quote to a Word document, I highlighted it, I copied it, hopefully Word will open up. It's going to open up. Oh, I'll just do a new phone. Or whatever. I just won't save this. So I have this text copied. Then I hit, Command V, Control V, whatever. And there it pulls out my exact quote with the proper citation for it. So that's called copy with reference. And I'll get back and show you how to do it again. So I'm going to highlight some text. It pulls up things. I can add a note. I can highlight. This is copy with reference. If I want to do this, add to note, say I'm briefing a case, and then I'm going to just call it, this is facts. And maybe I'm going to make it green because all of my facts are green. And, this isn't true, but say this is issue. And I've changed the color there. Okay, so you can do that kind of fun stuff with that highlighting and notes. So let me see what else I talk. And yeah, this one I don't have the right screen on this, which I was talking about earlier. No, sometimes they have on the right side of the of a case, they'll have like secondary sources. that refer to them, and I like to ignore that. So I would make the screen a full screen so you don't have to see those, because those are usually outside of the standard contract for Westlaw. So it's just a way for them, kind of like distracting. It's a way for them to charge you additional money. All right, so I'm going to get here to the PowerPoint for you, and you have the PowerPoint yourself. But I have some sites, and what I would like you to do for all of these sites is, pull them up on Westlaw, try saving one to a folder, try downloading one, try, putting a highlight in one, try copying note with reference. So, and then, there's some Illinois practice examples. So take a good, 10, 15 minutes, which I would have done, it made you guys do if we were actually live, to practice those and practice all of these things that is in that PowerPoint slide, which is I'm on PowerPoint, a few ones back. Things to notice. Look at the flag. Look at printing. Look at the folders. Look at see what happens if I choose one of those head notes. Do that. All right. So pause me and do that, and then unpause, and I'm going to keep on going because I'm in virtual land, but you go ahead and pause. All right, so that is pulling up cases by site. We can also pull up cases if we just have a case name. So ways to do that. Chrome here. All right, I'm going to click my heels 3 times and go home to the home screen. And I can type in, if I know a case, say I type in Burwell versus Hobby Lobby. So if it's more of an unusual name, you can just try typing it in the search bar, and 85% of the time it will come up. So I can type it right in there, choose that, and then I can look at that case just like I was looking at that McCleskey versus Kemp case. So that's one way you can just try to type in the case name. Now, sometimes you have a case that's a little more of a common name. Say, for example, People versus Peterson, right? We're going to get too much, and we're not going to know which one it is. So, look at all of these crazy ones that we have. So the first thing that we're going to do is we're going to choose our source, our database that we want Westlaw to look through. So if I want People versus Peterson, I am going to go to State Materials, and I'm going to go to Illinois, because I know this is an Illinois case. And then the People versus Peterson case that we looked at was an Illinois appellate court case. Okay, so right now I'm in Illinois, and I have options under Illinois. I have cases, trial court orders, statutes, and court rules. So I know that I want a case. I don't want everything, because that's going to give me too much. So I know this is an appellate court case. I'm going to choose Illinois appellate court cases. And in here, I'm going to type in People v. Peterson and hit enter, or click on the magnifying glass. Okay, so we have 100 documents where People versus Peterson appears. So what it's doing is it's kind of just doing those searches, looking for those words, People v. Peterson. And out of my, look, I have 7,000 results, but out of my results, it's giving me what it thinks I want first. Okay, so that is going to be, because it's sorted by relevance, I have my People versus Peterson. Another way to limit it so I wouldn't have so much, I'm just going to hit over here to the right of the magnifying glass, I click on Advanced. And we saw this in advanced Google searching, right? Let's say we want Peterson and people, those two words to appear in the party name section, so part of the party name. This is advanced searching. We'll talk about it a little bit next week, but it's just another way to find a case-by-case name. So now I'm only going to get Illinois appellate court cases where the word Peterson and the word Pieper are in the name of the case. Okay, so these are our People versus Peterson cases. I think for one, we can sort it by date and have the most recent one, which is I think the one that we dealt with in our briefing. Okay, so let me go back to my PowerPoint. Okay, so you type in you choose your jurisdiction, right? What state, or if it's federal, what court. So your jurisdiction / database, your source. I call that your source. Be careful about choosing a jurisdiction, or you'll get too much and make smart choices. Do you know the date? Do you know have something about it? So if I Peterson and hearsay, I might have gotten it right away. So in a second, pause me and try to pull up these by case name. So Yonkers, I'm giving you the court and or the year. These two are Illinois cases. So, whoops. Okay, so pause me and find those and just try to pull them up by case name and see how it goes. I don't know why I'm stopping because you can unpause me. All right. So that's pulling up cases by name, pulling up cases by site. Now we're going to start working on searches. Okay, first thing you have to do is choose a database or choose a source. Okay, otherwise Westlaw is going to choose everything. Going to give you everything on their database to search through, and that's a lot of crap that you don't want to deal with. Unlike Google, you're not searching an index, you are actually searching every word of every document in this database or source that you have chosen, right? I mean, I know Westlaw is the big database, but what I'm talking about database here is that just you're creating your own mini database, your own source to search through. Okay, so what do? Well, let me just get onto Westlaw. All right, I want to talk to you about choosing your source or you're choosing your database. Okay, so the first way you can do that is you look through these little content types tabs. Super easy. So if I want federal materials, I click on federal materials. Look at my options. I can have federal cases. Here's my U.S. code, code of federal regulations, federal registration, all that cool stuff. I can do it. I can get information by circuit, all pretty cool stuff. Okay, so that's federal stuff. State materials, I can choose Illinois. We looked at this a second ago. But for Illinois, you have cases. You can choose. I usually just do Illinois state cases if I'm doing Illinois state research. Don't just choose all of that because you're getting more than you want. You're getting Supreme Court cases and other things that started in Illinois. Okay, then we have trial court orders. These are going to cost extra, so don't use that. Statute and court rules. So we have, if I'm doing this is my Illinois ILCS, Illinois statutes right here. So don't do all of that because look, if I choose all of that, I'm also getting Illinois federal court rules, U.S. code annotated. That's a lot more than I want. I want Illinois statutes and court rules. That would be the one I would search for, Illinois statutes. Regs. So again, don't choose all of them. If I want Illinois, choose Illinois. Don't choose Illinois and the Code of Federal Regulations. Illinois administrative decisions, and then we have our secondary sources. Forms, we talked about forms earlier in this lecture. Expert materials, jury verdicts, all sorts of fun stuff in secondary sources. So that's kind of your state materials, what they have there. Then they have it kind of by practice area. So if I want, I'm practicing employment law, it gives me all of the materials they have in employment law. And it will give me, if I choose cases, it will be all employment law cases, state, federal, everything. So I can just pick that out, or maybe forms, or maybe jury verdicts, secondary sources related to that. So they have it separated out by practice area. I'm not going to deal with tools right now. Or, these are kind of things that they pulled out. If you add favorites, you can add, if you have things you use all the time, you can add favorites to this home page. But this is by kind of type. Do I want cases? Do I want statutes? Do I want secondary sources? All right, so what do we do? So we can use those tabs to choose our source. Another way you can do this, if you have something specific, like a specific law review, a specific newspaper article, you can use just the search box here and pull it up, just like we were doing with that with our case names. So if I'm looking for the Gonzaga Law Review, look here, I go to the Gonzaga Law Review, it pops right up. And then in a second, I can search it by typing something in the search box there. Say I want the Chicago Tribune. Okay, all the way down, content pages, Chicago Tribune. So what else? I have other examples for you to play with. So come on, play along. We have Chicago Journal of International Law. Okay, and then you choose that. So take a second before you go on with this lecture to try to pull up some of these sources by name. Do the New York Times, do something else you can think of, and see if you can find it. You can even do something like Louisiana statutes. Is the Louisiana wrong? There's only one. Louisiana statutes. Okay, all right, so what did I do? I guess that gets me all of Louisiana statutes and court rules. Maybe it doesn't work so well in Westlaw, but you could try things like that. So pause me, try to find things, and then come back. And I don't know again why I'm pausing this myself, because you can do that. All right, so the next one, we're get back to Boolean searching. So the first thing we're going to do a regular search. We choose our source. What database are we going to be searching in? What materials are we going to be searching in? Okay, so we're going to be doing our Boolean searching. We're using these words as math terms, and think of and as plus, right? You choose your database or your source, then you type in your search terms, also known as a search query. Westlaw will search every word of every document in this source that we've chosen and give any matching results. Let me Westlaw. Okay, so follow along with me on what was on the PowerPoint, but I'm not going to have that the PowerPoint screen up. So the first thing I'm going to do is choose my source, choose my database. Okay, and I'm going to go to State Materials. I'm going to go to Rhode Island. This is all on that the slide on the PowerPoint, so you can follow along, or you guys can just do it with me. Listen to this and do it on your screen. And then we're going to do all Rhode Island state cases. Okay, so now whenever I am searching here, this is where I'm searching, Rhode Island state cases. That's all it's going to look through. Okay, I'm going to type in a search term, just one word. I'm going to do disbarment. Okay, and click on enter or click on the magnifying glass. Either one of those will work. Okay, how many do I have? I have 176 cases. So now I review the results. I'm like, oh, I like this one. I don't like this one. So as I look through the list, it gives me my search terms highlighted with a little text on either side of it. So you can kind of see how your terms are used in context. It'll give you the date, and it will let you know how recent it is. You have options on how you want it to be sorted. Do you want it to be sorted by relevance, or do you want it to be sorted by the date? Your terms cited the most often, court level, highest court, whatever you pick. So if I just do relevance, that's awesome. If sometimes I can tell from here what looks good, so then I would click on that, scroll down, like this one's stupid or this one's good, and then I select the ones that I want. If I can select the ones that I want, and then when I go to my delivery, I can say print my selected documents, or I can just print a list. I have different options there, or I can look through it, read the whole thing, go back to my list. Whatever I would like. So I have run one search. Westlaw usually charges me by the search. Okay, so I run the search. I could sit here and read these documents all day, not be charged additional, because I have paid for my search. So things we can do here. Now we have 176 cases to look through. We can search within my results. Okay, we do this, you guys have done this in your own internet searching where you're searching within the results. So I'm searching within these 176 cases. Let's see, sometimes see if any of them are dealing with somebody's in rehabilitation. A lot of times, disbarment, somebody has drug or alcohol problems. So now Westlaw is going to search within these 176 documents for the word rehabilitation. Oh, and then I have to hit apply. Okay, so now I'm down to 4. So that's pretty cool. Say I want to just remove that previous search. Do I clear? I just hit clear, and then I'm back to my 176. I hope. I'm back to my 176. Okay, so that's using the search within results search box. Other things I can do is I can narrow it by jurisdiction, which really doesn't make sense because these are all going to be Rhode Island. By date, how recent I want it. Say I only want to make sure I have reported decisions. There's only one unreported here, but sometimes that makes a difference. Say I only want ones that are in a certain practice area. I want some by a certain judge. If I have a key number, I can narrow it by key numbers. So those are your kind of your search filters, which you can play with these 176 cases any ways you want. So say maybe sometimes people get in trouble for commingling. Oh, I want to show you something. Okay, we learned our connectors, right? And within the same sentence, within the same paragraph, all that stuff. There's a tricky little trick where you use an exclamation point. Okay, it's a root expander. So if I type in COMINGL, that will get me commingle, commingled, commingling, anything that starts with COMINGL. Okay, let's try that. And then I'm going to apply that one. And I have one that talks about, commingling of funds. So let me get back to talk about that for a second, this root truncator thing. Okay, so this, I could have done this instead of disbarment. I could have done disbar exclamation point. It gets me every word that starts with DISBAR. Super helpful. I use it all the time for liability, liable, liability, LIAB exclamation point. It's really, really helpful when you're not sure how the writer would have used a particular word. Okay, remember for phrases, we're going to use quotes. So Westlaw will treat this phrase as one word. Make sure it is a true phrase. Otherwise, you won't get good search results. Okay, other connectors, but not. It's expressed as this percentage sign. So this should be all caps. But if say I did RICO, RICO, percentage sign, Puerto Rico. Okay, so this is going to give me racketeering cases, the racketeering statute, but not cases or documents where the province of Puerto Rico appears. Okay, so that's an important thing. It's kind of like, remember when we did advanced Google and we did like that minus, so I wanted global warming, but then I did minus Trump, minus Biden to not get political kinds of documents. It kind of works like that. Universal characters, we have our exclamation point, which is a root truncator, and then we have our little asterisk, and the asterisk is it's like a wild card. It's like any letter. Okay, so women or woman, you put a little star there. I think I have too many stars there, but goose or geese, or if you don't know how to spell things, you can just put the little stars in there, and it just is saving a space, and it's an any letter wildcard. Okay, so our Boolean search terms are connectors. Remember, our terms are our terms, but then our connectors we have and, or, are within a number of words, or within a paragraph, within the sentence. Quotes for phrases, our exclamation point, which is our root expander, our wildcard, and then our but not. Okay, those are things you're going to have to I know I went through that super fast, but they're just things you're going to have to, learn. That's what we're here to do, is to learn. Okay, the advanced search, which I was showing you a little bit with when we were doing, here, let me get to clear this. When we were doing the cases by name, but advanced search, just like in a Google advanced search, we can, instead of doing our quotes, right, all of these terms, right, you're putting all the words that you would separate by the connector and. Any of the terms are anything you would separate by ors. Okay, the exact phrase would be quotes, and then these are the but not ones. And then the next time we'll talk a little bit more about these fields, but just know that this advanced search option is here to look for it. It's also helpful because when you get the advanced search page, if you forget your connectors, they're right there. And they, tell you what those connectors mean. Okay, so this should look familiar to you because we kind of just did this last week, but as an example, so we go to federal materials, and we're going to federal cases, and my question Does life without parole violate the constitutional ban on cruel and unusual punishment? Okay, so we're going to search federal cases. We're going to type in so life. Do that within 3 words: prison or in prison, right? Okay, life within 3 words: prison or in prison. So life in prison without parole, life imprisonment without parole, and then we'll do that in 3 words: parole, and let's just do cruel and unusual. Okay, so this one I'm using my, within connectors. Look, I'm using my truncators. I'm using the or, and then now I'm using my and then I'm using my phrase with my quotes: cruel and unusual. Okay, so we're talking about cruel and unusual punishment, and we're talking about life imprisonment without parole. Maybe I should have had without parole. Okay, so then we kind of look through these. We have a lot. Here's life in prison without parole, cruel and unusual punishment, things I can do to search within my results. I can maybe change. Where's my search? Cancel. I'm just going to copy this search box here. And in here, I'm going to just change this and to say like /30. Okay, because I want cruel and unusual to be closer to the life imprisonment without parole. Continue, apply. So see if I get something better than 1,000 cases. Okay, so I do. I'm down to 196 cases rather than 1,000, and I can start looking through these. What else can I do from here? So then I have my question. So that was just generally, does life imprisonment without parole violate cruel and unusual punishment? But let's continue to search within results. So let's do, we'll talk about minors. So we can say underage or teen or minor and see what we get. And we continue, and we're going to apply that. And I assume, or I hope that Miller will show up based on this search. We got 61. Say we do highest court first for level. There it is. There's our Miller versus Alabama that we just talked about last week. Graham versus Florida. Remember, Miller versus Alabama cited to Graham versus Florida. There's another one too that I can't remember up there. So then, that's what you would do. You would start looking through the cases. You would, maybe there's a head note in Miller that you would want to search, and that's how you play with it. We did that. The next little slide. Our browsing, we have our list of our case names, those key site flags. You have those first few appearances of the search terms that are highlighted in the document. You can click on the documents to print or review later, all that good stuff. All right, so for your homework, you're going to have questions that are, the first half is going to be about those secondary sources, and you're going to be going to some websites that we haven't gone to, but just Google those websites and you'll find them, like that law review website. And then the second half, you're going to be doing some things on Westlaw. And do exactly what I'm asking you to do, like what source, what is the database you've chosen? I am in Illinois state and federal cases, or I am in Indiana statutes. Where are you? Then exactly what did you type in this box? That's your search query. And then hopefully I can help you, make better search queries by seeing how you're doing it. And if you're making mistakes, catch that there. And then, the answer to the question, make sure you include the site where you're getting that from. Okay? Again, sorry about all the rigmarole today with the Westlaw being down, but some things out of our control. What can we do? Uh, please reach out to me if you have any questions, and I will meet with you online again next week. For those of you who have not done your cleared for Harper, please get that done, because week after next we're in person, and if you don't have your cleared for Harper pass, I can't let you attend class. All right, take care, and I will chat with you next week.